And we're back.
Alright, and we're back.
We are back.
Okay, we have a couple more news segments here. To wrap up about Taz, he has been phoning it in for at least the past 2 years. He looks lost in Aces and Eights, and I really hope that he does come back to the WWE, because I mean, really, his time in TNA hasn't been very well spent. I mean, he's perfectly fine. He was perfectly fine when he got there, but at the same time, I don't see him continuing. I don't see him, continuing on any further with TNA.
I enjoyed Taz quite a bit back in the day.
It doesn't really matter how good he is or not, because WWE likes to be comfortable, and they know Taz, and bringing him back would be comfortable.
I like Taz commentary, if only to see it pop up in Botchamania.
Oh, hell yeah! I was about to say that myself.
It's Taz!
Basically.
I love seeing Taz go back to WWE. I just don't think he should be, and I'm just going to say this out because it's one of my few gripes against the man. I don't think he should be training the next generation. I don't think I think his finishing school should be shut down, and the reason for that is, of course, the fact that one of his students pretty much maimed one of the best wrestlers out there in TNA, and we'll never see Daphne back in the ring again, so yeah.
I thought she was actually from 3D school.
The gal who maimed her...
Yes, 3D school. Yes.
Oh, that's Bubba Ray, not Taz?
That's correct.
Oh, okay.
Team 3D.
All right, I'll take that back then. I'll take that back. But, yeah.
Wrong. So, in other things that aren't really news, Jake Roberts had a setback this past week and drank alcohol one night while he was on the road. Surprise! Although
Apparently
Roberts
he
claimed
didn't
it
have
was
that
only
much, though.
2 drinks and he was able to restrain himself, DDP doubts the story according to what he's heard, and later commented that if Roberts fell again, he would be exiled from his home and sent to rehab. Who didn't see this coming?
Indeed, because he's not getting he's getting physical support with DDP, but DDP is not a therapist. And at some point, the life that Jake Roberts has lived as a drug addict and alcoholic and his childhood are going to come back up. He needs to deal with the underlying issues, and just fixing the body doesn't fix the mind.
I think Paige might be a little bit too positive. I think you're right. Mentally, I think Roberts is a guy who kind of wants to do what he wants.
And it's great for people who are me or you or somebody with just a slight problem. Oh, I have maybe one too many every once in a while.
Hey, I don't have a problem.
Well, of course not. As long as you can still hold your beer, you're fine. But with somebody like Jake Roberts, who, if I remember correctly, was molested as a child and had a horrible childhood, there's so many layers of underlying and probably really horrible issues in the life that he lived on the road, and we've all seen Beyond the Mat. He's a guy that needs a different level of help. I'm also curious to see what's going to happen with Scott Hall, who I imagine has similar problems. And I'd be curious to know how Jake Roberts' fall has affected his sobriety.
With Scott Hall, I don't see anything going wrong with him, to be honest. I think you see on Twitter, he's tweeting every 5 minutes of him spending time with Cody. I don't see anything happening there. I think he's on the road to recovery.
And you know what? That might be the thing that is his redemption, in that he has someone to live for. And I know that Jake Roberts does have children, but I think that those relationships are just toast. And
plus Cody is a wrestler. Or trying to become a wrestler.
So there's definitely a bond that Scott gets to have that Jake really doesn't. And if you're getting up every day and have no reason to get up other than to exercise and eat clean, you need more, I think. And as cool as DP is,
Well, he does have more. He set goals for himself. He wants to make one more run. He wants to do Randy the Ram stuff. I mean, I'm not terribly surprised by this at all, considering the position in the house that he has. But at the same time, when I understand the story of what actually happened here, his girlfriend got out of whatchamacallit, got out of jail or something, and she had been in there for 10 months, and they went out drinking and celebrating. I mean, and he had a few beers. He was drunk, yes, but he apparently held his own, from what I understand of the story. So I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that Jake is he fell off the wagon or whatever. I feel that he came very close. I feel that he didn't exactly abide by all of the rules that DDP set, but I mean, at the same time, the DDP system, I mean, he's what he's actually doing here is keeping them honest is what I keep hearing. That's the buzzword. But in all essence, what he's doing is pitching a reality show. Eventually, at some point or another, there's going to be, somebody is going to see it, and there's somebody is going to pick it up, and somebody is going to put it on the WWE Network.
Hi, Vince. Hi, Vince.
I think that's it almost makes it feel like he's using these guys, although obviously he's not. They are friends, but it is there's an end to means.
There's a double entendre there, yes.
And in terms of what Jake did, I mean, that is really reflective of a really bad mindset. The idea that he would go out with his, I guess, girlfriend who just got out of jail. When you're in recovery, you really are supposed to cut off all of those contacts. You do not go and hang out with people you used to drink with or drug with. Because it's dangerous. That's how you fall back into those bad habits. So he obviously has a lot more work to do, and it would be. I mean, I don't know that he's not seeing a therapist, but that would probably be very, very helpful. I would imagine he has a lot of shit to talk about.
One more thing from me. I can't help. I don't want to think this, but I can't help but think. Could it have been an attention thing? Maybe he thought the light was kind of been taken off him from Scott Hall, maybe?
Maybe.
And he decided to go out and drink and exaggerate the story a little bit, maybe?
Maybe. I think, but they were there, and they were at the bar with him, like the producers of the show, and the people that are paid to, basically watch him and what he's doing, and in the video...
But doesn't that make it all seem a little bit more staged?
Exactly, that's my point. All right.
I don't know. Time will tell, I guess. Hopefully he's okay, because he did mention he wanted to be part of the Royal Rumble this year. So there's another goal.
Royal Rumble, Hall of Fame. I can see this actually happening.
I want to be in the Royal Rumble too. How about that? I mean, I'm setting it as a goal, right? I mean, it seems so unrealistic.
Actually, I disagree with you completely. I think that I could see him running in like Booker T did 2 years ago, or Nash did 2 years ago, and
clean, healthy people on much, much better ground. WWE. I can't imagine them putting Jake Roberts in the ring.
We'll see.
Well, they do dumber things on Raw every week, so
there you go. Alright, so, last news segment here. Physical WWE Hall of Fame may take over the spot in Universal Studios now that the NBA City table service is shutting down. Rob Black is bringing back his XPW promotion on Halloween night in Los Angeles, featuring a 12-man tournament for the XPW title. WWE reported that R-Truth's sister, Franchetta, thank you, passed away after 7 years battle with cancer. Our condolences go out to him. And Matt Bourne, the original Dory the Clown, also passed away at the age of 55 this week.
All right, as one clown to another, I have to say that growing up, I was never a big fan of Doink the Clown. However, I will give all the praise on God's green earth to Maniac Matt Bourne. This guy was Cape Fear. This guy was the nasty mother who lived down the street. This guy was the Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker, mind you, and every other sociopath that ever made the news famous rolled into one. His laugh could chill you to the bone and make you shit out ice cubes, to be perfectly frank. Excuse my French. I will miss Maniac Matt Bourne. He is one of the worst losses we've had this year, not just because he's a personal favorite of mine, but because you need to watch him if you're going to be a bad guy at all. I hope the Wayland, not the Wayland family. Who's coming to Raw next week again, guys? Thank you. I hope the Wyatt family watch nothing but tapes of Maniac Matt Bourne, because that is the standard they're going to be set to right there.
As a person with coulrophobia, I've actually never been able to watch Doink's work, so there you go. I have a horrible fear of clowns.
Understandable. You should actually then watch his ECW run, as he does not don the clown mask, but he is Matt Reborn and tag team, I believe, with Mikey Whipwreck.
I'll check it out.
All right.
I'd just like to say that I am personally affected by the loss of NBA table service.
Oh God, how are you personally affected by the loss of WWE table service, Omega?
And NBA table service.
Well, it's about the only way a guy like me can feel like a big money hustler.
I'm personally affected by the loss of WWE New York, as they closed that restaurant before I was able to go to it, actually, when I went to New York City in like March of 2002 or something.
Well, you can get chicken fingers somewhere else. You'll be fine.
It was real.
Was that place in Times Square? Is that what it was?
Yeah, that was, yeah. Alright, guys. And ladies, we are going to the 15-minute time limit. And for the next 15 minutes, we're going to be talking about the interesting news segment that we heard earlier, which was the man named Steve, Sting. Sting, apparently, is thinking about jumping over to the WWE, and last night on Raw, we saw a video package of all the WWE and World Heavyweight Championships, and included in that package was Sting. So, speculation abound here says that Sting could come into the WWE. Would this happen? Would he face Undertaker like everybody else wanted him to 2 years ago? And do you think that he would be instantly pushed into the Hall of Fame, or would they stretch it out longer?
Well, we've all made jokes in the past about how badly that he's handled himself in the ring for TNA the past few years. I don't believe he's been really that bad. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. I still have rose-colored glasses and think of him back when he was the Stinger, the blonde-haired beach boy from Venice. But I only wish he'd done this move sooner. I don't know exactly what they're going to do to him, what they're going to do with him besides Undertaker if he does get there.
At this point, I'm the person that isn't particularly interested in seeing two guys who are nearly 50 wrestle for half an hour. I realize I'm about the only wrestling fan that feels that way, but it's just not something I particularly want to see, because there's no way they're going to deliver the kind of best that they could deliver at the age of maybe 35. And what you are seeing is, it's a nostalgia pop. It really is. It makes people feel good on the inside, but I think in their heart of hearts they know it's not the best match they could be watching.
You're probably right with all those things. I don't think, however, that a nostalgia pop as such is, if that's the best that these guys can do, which admittedly is a little sad. I think that it's probably something that fanboys and fangirls of professional wrestling, much less the WWE, have been wishing for years. So I don't know what to do besides that.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's just that I always have that uncomfortable moment when you see a guy in the ring who is definitely past it, but you have the crowd going, "You've still got it." It's like, oh, I don't want to hear that chant. If I'm hearing that chant, I know something I don't want to be seeing is happening, and that is likely. And yes, Ric Flair. Jesus Christ! Did anybody watch Celebrity Wife Swap?
I didn't even try to watch it. I didn't even try to watch it, man.
Apparently, it got
Celebrity
the series low in the
without
ratings.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, I'm going to make a little mention of that later during the closing segment.
And I'm sorry, I took us way off track. Back to Sting. It's interesting because it really does kind of show where his bread is buttered. He's been a TNA guy for quite a while, but where does he want to finish out? The WWE. It is the gold standard.
Exactly.
It's like to be put into a Hall of Fame that's actually prestigious. Yes, and you know, it has some sort of meaning. I mean, look at the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame out in Iowa. There, I mean, they're bringing in two people, Bill Watts and Ric Flair, I believe, and both of them are showing the commencement.
I don't think that place means nearly as much to them as Cauliflower Alley does. That seems to be something that has a lot more sort of personal prestige, and it's a much more interesting club to be part of.
Absolutely. There's also the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in Amsterdam, New York, which is really interesting, which, you know, also has their own sort of stuff. But to me, it seems like, you know, Sting really wants to. This is going to be it, and this is going to be his swan song, and you know, he's going to go out one last time, and you know, Ric Flair will do his Hall of Fame speech, and he'll be he'll go against Undertaker in a 5-minute hokey dokey match that'll be terrible, but it'll be Undertaker from like '93 instead of but with a 50-year-old man's body.
Are we going to have to see Sting in full face paint? Because I'd rather not. I don't think any of that's working for him anymore. I think, if anything, I would like to see a more stripped-down version of both of these guys, if anything.
Well, Undertaker's already stripped down himself. I mean, I'm not terribly surprised with that.
He's coming out in a dress now. Come on.
Well, I mean, he's coming out in a dress, but look what he's wrestling in. I mean, he's all he's got on is like pants, a tank top, and his MMA gloves. I mean, that's really that seems terribly simplified to me, as opposed to a ripped shirt. His very large purple gloves and purple boots.
I wouldn't mind seeing American Badass one more time. This would probably be the time for it.
That was my favorite incarnation of him.
I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think they just want to keep the Phenom thing going. I think that's what they wanted to retire as, to be honest.
Which has always been strange to me, because, I mean, even if you look that word up in the dictionary, it really does apply to a much younger person. That's why it's so impressive. It's a young person with this exceptional talent, and that doesn't apply to him anymore, to the point where it makes me think that the WWE doesn't know what that word means.
Yeah, Vince thought they said Phantom, and nobody cared to correct him.
Would you guys agree in saying that it's the greatest gimmick of all time?
Yes.
I think
that's why it's Sting there.
Isn't it the most unlikely gimmick of all time? Now imagine somebody trying to sell that now.
Well, nobody is trying to sell that now, and the fact that he's able to
anymore.
No, of course not.
The fact that he's able to reinvent himself pretty much every year since he's been wrestling is a sign of his, ability to stay on top, which is why the streak is so prestigious. Because it's not the fact that he's won 20 matches in a row for 20 years in a row, or whatever it is, 21 at this point. It's the fact that he is able to stay consistent, relevant, and on top of the game for 20 plus years, which you never, ever, ever see anybody else do, ever, unless you're in the 60s and talking about San Martino.
Well, I mean, what are we in now? 2013 coming up to 2014. We're getting pretty close to that same thing applying to somebody like The Rock. So there are other people that can do that if they choose
Whoa. You can't really compare what The Rock has done to, I mean, because when has The Undertaker left for 7 years to go do crappy movies where he puts on a tutu and wears fake wings and then comes back and basically just kind of hijacks the main event for a little while and then screws off to go do some more movies?
I think that's actually what makes it... Sorry. I think that's...
Oh, God.
I just wanted to answer him because I think that actually is what makes The Rock, although I'm not a fan of his, a little bit more impressive, that he can go away for that long and still come back and be right in the top spot, and the audience is just begging for him.
Yes, the people love him, even though he comes back from these god-awful long stints, and he says sometimes that I'm never going away again, and then he goes away again, and then we're all thinking, oh, to hell with you, and then we're like Pavlov's dog. You hear the bell ring, do you smell what The Rock is cooking?
And people pop like crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I mean, to me, it seems like if Sting were to come back, and he didn't have like a WrestleMania match or some sort of WrestleMania spot kind of thing, then I would be okay with that, because Sting is from a different part, and to actually wrestle in the WWE, you don't know if you actually want to do that. But if he signs a Legends deal and he just goes straight into the Hall of Fame, that wouldn't surprise me, to be completely honest.
But like put some people over or something? No?
So I think the whole Sting-Undertaker match is pretty much... I mean, that's the penultimate match that people want to see. I don't know if you can get away with signing Sting and not have that match, quite frankly.
I think there's very little else you could do with him. Can you imagine him in a match with Cody Rhodes? I mean, just sort of randomly on SmackDown. I mean, there's...
Damien Sandow.
Admittedly, it would be nice, but when you really think about it, it seems like you can't put him in, say, doing what Chris Jericho's doing right now. I can't see him just being used to get young talent over.
Would he be that attraction at WrestleMania that The Undertaker is?
If Undertaker wasn't already there.
Is what I mean. Could he do Undertaker's spot, is what I mean.
No, I could see him doing kind of like what Brock Lesnar does right now, which is sort of, has the big matches, but doesn't really show up otherwise.
I'd have to see what the crowd reception would. I'd have to see what the crowd reception would be to him when he came back. I mean, because I know where he lives in the hearts of certain members of the IWC and I guess at TNA, but in terms of the wider wrestling audience, I'm not sure what Sting means to them. And I'd be curious to find that out.
That's a good point, considering what WCW was what?
Looking back to 1999, so that's
15 years ago almost.
Yeah.
He would need a reintroduction. He would need some sort of the ability to have everyone be reintroduced to Sting, and then they would have to start a program with it would be very difficult to induct Sting without having Sting be there, because he's at the I understand that he's at the very, very end of his career, but at the same time, if you got a 2-month program out of him leading up to WrestleMania against Undertaker, you could have that one last thing.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. And if you're talking about putting Undertaker in, this year to the Hall of Fame, and then Sting was in the Hall of Fame too, I don't know. I mean, I think it would kind of fit. I mean, it is in New Orleans, so I mean, there is that.
If you did that, if all of those things were going to kind of coincide, I would also like to see Kane get involved in the storyline. I think if you're going to bring all of that to sort of a culmination, I think Kane needs to be involved somehow, and then you can pull him off Daniel Bryan for a while. Forever, actually.
Forever.
Yeah, Team Hell No has definitely run its course.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's coming to an end now at this point. Like, they constantly keep teasing it disbanding. In recent weeks, anyways. I'm not sure. Maybe it will disband when this whole Cena and Daniel Bryan thing comes together at SummerSlam.
I'm hoping that the culmination of it will be at the Money in the Bank match that they're having. Because, you'll have Orton, Bryan, and Kane in that match, and hopefully that they can make that all go away.
I still say WrestleMania. That's pretty much like I said, the ultimate. As far as introducing Sting, not everybody might know who he is, but you can introduce him in a way that everybody gets on board with him. You know,
They definitely have to establish his relevancy. Tell a majority of the fans, here's why this guy matters, and here's why he's facing Undertaker would be a big deal for a certain segment of the fan base. It would be work, definitely.
Couldn't they hype him like they could go, oh, Sting is coming, and like they could constantly tease him coming out to the ring or something, and people being afraid of him, and they could show video packages of why people should be afraid of him and stuff like this, like him being
11
stuff like that.
To 11-11.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If it was Sting instead of Taker, just as much excitement as far as I'm concerned.
I think that if that were to come up, I think that it would have to be some sort of like mythical thing, and like there would be it would be creepy, and you would think it would be an Undertaker promo, but then.
Like if the Undertaker and Sting come together, would bring the end of the world or something, something silly like that.
Like a big reason why Undertaker is so popular. He is literally a living legend. He shows up once a year. There's all the mystique. Everybody knows who he is. The streak, all that good stuff. So you bring that same aura to Sting in a way, then yeah, I think it's very doable.
Pete, you just booked the greatest idea we probably ever had on this show. That was amazing.
And it'll never happen.
I'd work in WWE for free.
Aw.
Oh, hell, I'd like a little Triple H money.
That's it for 15 minutes. I'm
A little Stephanie money?
I wasn't going to say that, being we have a lady present. I'm trying to be nice this week.
Oh, God. All right, so with that aside, we're going to cut for a break. But first, we're going to, after the break, we're jumping into kayfabe issues. Yankum will be running that shiz. But before that, we're going to play a song by Shining Rosado, shiningrosado.com, at Shining Rosado on Twitter. Super Blizzard does amazing work with wrestling and music and stuff, so you guys should definitely check that out. We're going to play you Kane Dewey this week, and here's the song.
man who's gonna save your life.